This is Calypso. Calypso is one of our original Alpines that we got when we started getting more into dairy goats. She was the third dairy goat that we got, actually, and she's currently the senior oldest member of our Alpines, actually of all our goats. She is 10 years old. She has a little bit unique hooves in our herd. For whatever reason, her hoof walls, which are the outside part of the hoof, are extremely thick on the inside toes of both her front feet. You can maybe notice that they're significantly thicker than the outside toes, and that's not standard or normal. It's just how she's always been as long as we've had her. Just like a human, a goat, or any other animal can have some unique physical traits to themselves. Those thicker toes are really hard to trim. When we had fewer goats, we used to do all their trimmings by hand with a really sharp pair of garden shears, and that worked fine. But in her case, it didn't really work as fine. It was really difficult to do. So we finally decided to invest in this handy tool here. It's called a Hoof Boss, and it has made a huge difference now that our herd is up in the 30s, up to sometimes a maximum of 70s after kidding season. It goes way faster to trim anyone's hooves, but especially her hooves, by using this rather than doing it with garden shears. Take the Hoof Boss and basically just move it up and down on the hoof, and basically shaving off the hoof, and you're trying to get those outer hoof walls level with the sole of the hoof, which is the inside part on the toe. So the toes are comprised of hoof wall, the outside part, which you'll notice will start to curl in as they're getting too long. And she got trimmed 3 or 4 weeks ago. Her hooves also grow exceptionally fast compared to every other goat we own. But you can see here it's curling, and it even starts getting attached to the sole here. So you want to make this flap go away. And like I said, on most goats, you could achieve this just with a simple pair of garden shears. You want to slip it under here and trim that away. But our objective with using the Hoof Boss is going to be to trim that away, level out the soles, and then we usually take a little bit off the tip of the toe as well, because it tends to accumulate a lot of dirt and grime in there. You'll also notice that Tabitha is wearing safety gloves and safety goggles. As you might be able to see, the shards of hoof are flying around, and obviously we don't want to get that in our eyes, so it's important to wear the goggles. And the gloves are cut-resistant gloves that are to protect in case that Hoof Boss might slip. Calypso is one of our best standers, so she's not jerking around too much, and the risk of cutting yourself is lower on a cooperative goat like her. But if you get a less cooperative goat, you might end up that they pull their hoof away and you might nick your hand, and obviously that's a mechanized cutting machine. You don't necessarily want that happening. Yeah. So you see a little bit of blood when we trimmed her hooves. Again, she has a little bit unique hooves. She is prone to laminitis, so we do keep her on a less rich diet than our other goats, which the other goats also don't have a particularly rich diet, but we really avoid feeding her any goat feed or alfalfa that makes her hooves flare up. Laminitis is a inflammation in hooves in any hoofed animal. You may be more familiar with it if you are in the horse world. Laminitis is something that horses get, but goats also get laminitis, and her hooves will get very red and inflamed, and the little bit of blood that you saw at the edge of the sole and the hoof wall is actually an abscess that's growing out from that. So despite keeping her on a blander diet of hay and just Timothy grass pellets, so it's not anything that's really rich there, she still will get mild laminitis and some mild inflammation in her hooves there. And this blood stop powder is great to have on hand if you ever have any kind of wound. It doesn't have to be from a hoof, it can be from anything, but it helps with the blood clotting. It's like a styptic powder that you might get for humans. You can also use that on goats as well, but this is more cost effective. You can see here on Calypso's front toe, as she's going through it, you can see how much thicker that hoof wall is on that inner toe. And again, that's not a normal goat toe, that's just the way her toes particularly are, but that's what makes using a Hoof Boss more practical, especially with a goat like her who has that extremely overly thick hoof wall. And she's had that for the 7 years I've owned her. It's always been that way, so it's not growing out, it's not changing with time, it's not any kind of condition that's ever gonna go away. Talk to the vet about it. There's really nothing to do about it. It's just the way that her particular feet are. Thanks for joining us. The goats and I look forward to seeing you again next time.